Hey guys, welcome back to Loop with Jack. Today we're going to be seeing if we can get a good bass sound using just an electric guitar using ToneStack Pro on the iPad. Let's get into it. So some of you that have been following this channel will know that I've been exploring the idea of running amp sims and all my guitar sounds on the iPad itself, not using any outboard gear such as a HX Stomp or a Kemper or anything like that. Now this journey has led me to test out a few cool apps, ToneStack Pro being one of those apps, and that's the one I'm going to look at today. A key thing missing for me has been the ability to get a good fake bass sound when I'm just using my electric guitar. Now this is for live looping, so I don't want to have to change instruments too much. And that's obviously not a bad thing, swapping instruments. But if you just want to get an okay bass sound that's going to add a little bit of low end and give you something that you need when you're looping, then I think I've got something in ToneStack now. Let me show you what I've built. So this is the patch that I have come up with inside ToneStack. This is just my clean guitar. Just DI'd straight into my interface. And I'll just give you a quick rundown of the elements of this patch. Now, this compressor at the start is actually from a clean patch which I've previously built in my last ToneStack video on my channel. And I just like the way it sort of made things pop. It leveled things out a little bit. So I actually found this worked really well with this kind of fake bass idea. So I've left that in there. The key pedal in this instance is this bass octave. So under units, you've got pitch and modulation, and you've got a few different options. You've got a big octave, bass octave, a few different options in there, right? I tried a few out and I ended up liking this bass octave here. So I'll turn that on. With the range slider there, you can go super low. So that's like the octave below again. And then you can have the higher octave, if you want that chipmunk kind of thing. But I went for this middle range. I've got rid of normal, which I presume means the sort of dry signal from my guitar. And then it's starting to sound like a bass. Now, obviously not exactly like a bass, but it's kind of sounding quite cool. With just one pedal on at the moment. Further on down, we've got this bass overdrive. Now, I'm not actually using that in this demonstration today, but you can turn that on and on if you just want a slightly hotter bass sound. I'll show you that in a little while. I've then gone for this ginger amp, which I thought was pretty cool. Let's turn that on. Quite like that kind of P-bass, mid-range kind of tone. It's got quite a nasally feel to it. And I messed around a little while with the different settings here, but I quite like the compressor that's also built into this amp. So we've got double compressor, but it's making it kind of bounce nicely. So yeah, that's the amp head. course, we need a cab. Now, there's loads of bass cabs inside ToneStack, but I actually found I quite liked the way this guitar 4x12 sounded and felt. On my guitar, obviously I've got a pickup selector switch, and I find that this position that's got the neck and the middle mixed together works really well with this sound. Cab off. In fact, now I'm listening to it without the cab. Actually sounds pretty cool as well. So that's another tone you can get if you want it. But once I put that cab on, it feels a little bit more like a bass amp to me. Obviously, I am no expert by any means. Next up, we've got this bass toner, and it's just an EQ, but I've used it to bring in a little bit of this 50 Hertz range. I found because the guitar cab took away some of that low end, I brought a little bit back using this bass toner. I've scooped a little bit of 120, 400 and 500 out, that boxy kind of range. And then I wanted it to cut through the mix a little bit more. So I've given it some 800 and a tiny bit of 4.5K. So without the bass toner. With the bass toner. Again, without. And with. I feel like it just controls the overall frequency range quite well. And then if you want that overdriven tone, you can put this bass overdrive on as well. So that's just a quick look at a fake bass patch I've built inside ToneStack Pro. So let me know what you think. Is this a good fake bass sound? Is it good enough for looping? It's hard for me to know at the moment. I'm going to have a listen back to some of these demos and see what I think. But just the feel of it in the fingers is pretty cool. There's no obvious latency or anything like that. And I think it's quite a passable bass sound to get me going at the moment. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Is this a usable sound? Is it good enough for live looping? It's hard to know. I mean, obviously using a real bass, nothing's gonna replace that. But if you just want to add a little bit of low end, having some fun, layering up some loops, maybe doing a little acoustic gig or something like that, I think this is a perfectly reasonable bass sound. And I've certainly had a lot of fun playing around in ToneStack Pro and creating this patch. By the way, if you want to download this patch, there's a link down in the description below, or you can go over to my site and you can get access to the ToneStack Pro patch. I'll also put in this template there in case you have the beta for Loopy 2.0, then you can download it. I'm using the drum pad from Nord, which I just did a video on. Go check that out if you're interested. But that's it for today, guys. Just a quick one showing you my hunt for a bass tone inside ToneStack Pro. Hope it was helpful. See you again.